Welcome to HSE with Sustainable EHS Consulting, the podcast where we delve into all things related to health and safety in the workplace. I'm Barbara Dereka, and today we are going to explore the key health and safety legislation in the UK, and we are going to discuss why it's important to stay compliant. Whether you're an employer, an employee, or someone simply interested in how the UK keeps its workplace safe, this episode is for you. We will break down the key laws that govern workplace safety and discuss the potential consequences of non-compliance. So let's dive in. Let's start with an overview of the key pieces of legislation that form the backbone of health and safety law in the UK. Understanding these laws is essential for ensuring that workplaces are safe for everyone. The main one is the Health and Safety at Work Act 1974. This is the primary piece of legislation covering occupational health and safety in Great Britain. It places a duty on employers to ensure, as far as is reasonably practicable, the health, safety, and welfare of their employees. It also extends to other affected by work, such as contractors and the public. Another piece of legislation is the Management of Health and Safety at Work Regulations 1999. These regulations require employers to carry out risk assessments, implement necessary measures to control those risks, and appoint competent people to oversee workplace safety. They also require employers to provide employees with information and training on health and safety. Another one is the Workplace, Health, Safety and Welfare Regulations 1992. These regulations cover a wide range of basic health, safety and welfare issues, such as ventilation, temperature, lighting, cleanliness, and adequate facilities for staff. Another one is the Provision and Use of Work Equipment Regulations 1998, PUWER. PUWER requires that equipment provided for use at work is suitable for intended task, safe for use, maintained in a safe condition, and inspected regularly. The Manual Handling Operations Regulations 1992. These regulations aim to reduce the risk of injury from manual handling tasks, such as lifting, carrying, or moving objects. Employers are required to avoid manual handling where possible and assess any unavoidable task to minimize the risk of injury. The next one is the Personal Protective Equipment at Work Regulations 1992, PPE, and the most recent update to this regulation from 2022. These regulations ensure that personal protective equipment is provided to employees where risk cannot be adequately controlled by other means. Employers must ensure that PPE is appropriate, properly maintained, and used correctly. Another one is the Control of Substances Hazardous to Health Regulations 2002, COSH. COSH requires employers to control substances that can harm workers' health. This involves identifying hazardous substances, assessing the risks, and implementing measures to prevent or reduce exposure. And the last one I'm going to talk today about is the Reporting of Injuries, Diseases and Dangerous Occurrences Regulations 2013, REDOR. REDOR places a legal duty on employers to report certain serious workplace accidents, occupational diseases, and dangerous occurrences. This helps the Health and Safety Executive to identify where and how risks arise and to investigate serious incidents. So these laws and regulations correctly ensure that the workplace environment is safe and that workers are protected from health hazards. Now that we've covered the main health and safety legislation, let's talk about why it's so important to stay compliant. So the first reason is legal obligation. First and foremost, compliance with these laws is a legal requirement. So employers have a duty to protect the health and safety of their employees and others who might be affected by their work. Failing to comply can result in serious legal consequences, including fines, prosecutions, and even imprisonment for serious breaches. The second reason is obviously protecting people. This is the most important reason. The primary aim of health and safety legislation is to protect people from harm. Compliance ensures that risks are managed and that workers, visitors, and public are kept safe. This not only prevents injuries and illnesses, but also fosters a culture of safety in the workplace. Another reason is business reputation. Company's reputation can be significantly impacted by its health and safety record. Non-compliance and accidents can lead to negative publicity, loss of business, and damage to relationships with clients and partners. On the other hand, a strong safety record can enhance a company's reputation, attracting clients and top talents. Financial implications. Accidents and non-compliance can be costly. There are direct costs such as fines and compensation claims, and indirect costs such as lost productivity, legal fees, and increased insurance premiums. By staying compliant, businesses can avoid these financial pitfalls and potentially save money in the long-term run. Another reason to be compliant is employee morale and productivity. A safe work environment boosts employee morale and productivity. Workers who feel safe are more likely to be engaged. They are much more productive and loyal to their employer. High standards of health and safety can also reduce absenteeism due to work-related illness or injuries. The last reason for maintaining health and safety compliance I would like to have a chat about is continuous improvement. Staying compliant with health and safety legislation encourages continuous improvement. Regular risk assessments, training, and reviews can help businesses identify areas of improvement, and that leads to safer and more efficient operations over time. So in short, compliance with health and safety legislation is not just about avoiding legal trouble, it's really about creating a safe, productive, and positive work environment that benefits absolutely everyone involved. So how businesses and individuals ensure they stay compliant with health and safety legislation? Here are a few tips that I have prepared for you to stay compliant. The first one is regular training. Ensure that all employees, especially new hires, receive regular health and safety training. This should include training on specific risks on the job and general workplace practices. Stay updated. Health and safety regulations can change, so it's important to stay informed about any updates or new legislation. Regularly review your policies and procedures to ensure they remain compliant. Conduct risk assessments. Regularly carry out risk assessments to identify potential hazards in the workplace. Make sure to document these assessments and implement measures to control any identified risks. Maintain clear documentation. Keep thorough records of health and safety procedures, training sessions, risk assessments, and incidents. This documentation is crucial for demonstrating compliance and can be essential in the event of an inspection or investigation. The next one is engage employees. Encourage employees to be actively involved in health and safety practices. This could include forming a health and safety committee, providing a platform for reporting hazards, and encouraging open communication about safety concerns. The last one is use competent professionals. If needed, consult with health and safety professionals or hire a competent person to help manage your compliance efforts. Their expertise can help ensure you meet all legal requirements and implement best practices. By following these tips, you can help ensure your workplace remains safe, compliant, and productive. That's all for today's episode of HSE with Sustainable EHS Consulting. I've covered the main health and safety legislation in the UK and discussed why it's so important to stay compliant. Remember, health and safety isn't just a legal requirement, it's all about protecting people, enhancing your business reputation, and fostering a positive safety culture. If you found this episode helpful, please subscribe to our podcast, leave us a review, and share it with others who may benefit from it. We'll be back next time with more insights into workplace safety and compliance. Until then, stay safe and stay compliant. Thanks for listening to HSC with Sustainable EHS Consulting. If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover in the future episodes, feel free to reach out, and have a great day.